I told my mom I won't raise my half-siblings if something happens to her. My dad died when I was 8, and my mom remarried when I was 12. Now I'm 20 and I have 3 half-siblings from her second marriage. They're 7, 5, and 4 years old. Last month, my mom sat me down for this serious talk. She said she and her husband were getting their affairs in order and making plans in case something happened to both of them before the kids turned 18. She showed me this list they'd made of everyone they'd asked to be the kids' guardian. My grandparents were too old and said no. Her husband's parents had health issues and couldn't do it. My aunt and uncle already had 4 kids and couldn't take on 3 more. My other aunt was going through a divorce. Her husband's brother lived overseas for work and it wasn't realistic. Even my mom's cousin, who she's super close with, said she couldn't handle it with her own big family. Then my mom looked at me and said I was the last person on the list. Everyone else had already said no. She told me she knew it was huge to ask someone my age, that they'd set aside money to help with expenses, that she really just wanted to make sure the kids would be okay if the worst happened. I took a deep breath and told her I couldn't do it either. My mom's face just fell. She asked if there was anything she could promise or offer that would change my mind. I said no, and that I'd honestly be a terrible fit for being their guardian anyway. She looked disappointed, but she nodded and said okay, she understood. She said they'd have to start asking friends to see if anyone would agree. That's when her husband got involved. He pulled me aside later and demanded to know why I refused. I told him the same thing, that I'd be a bad fit and that's all he needed to know. He got in my face and said I should agree just because nobody else would, that my half-siblings could end up in foster care if something happened. I held my ground and said my answer was still no. Here's where it gets annoying. He won't let it go. Every single time I see him now, he brings it up. He corners me at family dinners asking me to explain myself. He sends me long texts about family responsibility and how I'm being selfish. Meanwhile, I know for a fact he didn't give anyone else on that list this much grief. My aunt told me he asked her once, she said no, and he never mentioned it again. But with me, it's like he's on this mission to wear me down. Last week, he showed up at my apartment unannounced. He sat on my couch and told me I owed it to my mom after everything she'd done for me, that I was basically abandoning my own blood. I snapped and told him the truth. I was 8 when my dad died. I spent years watching my mom grieve while trying to be the perfect kid, so I wouldn't make things harder for her. Then she remarried, and suddenly I had this new family that I never asked for. I love my half-siblings, but I also lost my entire childhood to family tragedy and responsibility. I'm 20 years old, and I'm finally building my own life. I'm not ready to put that on hold to raise 3 kids that aren't mine. He just stared at me. Then he said that was the most selfish thing he'd ever heard. That real family shows up when it matters. I told him to get out of my apartment. Now my mom's caught in the middle. She says she accepted my decision, but her husband keeps pushing. He told her I need to justify my answer better, that I'm being unreasonable. My mom just wants peace, but I can see the stress on her face every time we're all together.